entries to our high school. And before I begin, I'd like to introduce our board. They're here to hear your concerns, your questions, find out exactly what is going on. So we have Dr. Alan Rickman, Mr. Dave Barunda, Mr. Dave Weaver. You were hiding back there, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Weaver and Mr. Barunda. We have Mr. Ceballos and Mr. Mike Jones. So thank you all for coming down to be here with us tonight. As I stated earlier, we're here to learn about the extracurricular activities throughout the district. And we've had these public engagements now throughout the year, and they worked out great. We've gotten a lot of information from parents. One of the things that I'd like to do beforehand is I'd like to give a great big thank you to NEA, who not only has provided the child care, but they have also provided the funding for the meals that we have been able to have. So thank you very much. Thank you to Bonnie Garcia and her staff for having the fantastic meals that they have provided. Thank you all. As we start the program, Maria Showalter, principal of Holloman Middle School, will be presenting the overview. After that, we will have a question and answer period. And what we're doing is, if you have a question, if you come to the microphone so that everybody can hear what you're asking, we will write your questions, your concerns, and those go back. We at the administration, we work on getting answers, looking at what we can do for improvements. Because it is an extracurricular activity overview today, Ms. Showalter will be talking about what we have. However, if there are specific questions to specific schools, those principals will be answering. So with all that said, I'd like to present Ms. Showalter.
I'm going to just begin. Having hosted this, I determined that some of our students always enjoy kind of working off the computers and different kind of movies. So I'm going to just do a small snippet, first of all, of some of our extracurricular activities, and then I'll move into the general program. by volunteers. Sometimes it's done by teachers that spend their time after school and weekends to be able to provide that for the children. And so we really appreciate the dedication and also the heart that goes behind this, because it does take a lot of time to be able to sponsor these activities. As you know, a lot of these activities occur after school, but there's several things that happen during the weekends. And then if they have to go out of town, if they're in any kind of competition, that's additional time as well. So again, we count on parents to support their children to be part of these activities. And we thank you if you're here and a parent, and appreciate the fact that you're taking an interest in your child to get involved in school. And then the other side, we really appreciate our staff and our volunteers that continue to help expand our curriculum by offering extracurricular activities. So the first thing we're going to look at is our Alamogordo High School. Yeah, here's just some of the listings, so I'll just leave it there. I do have handouts at the end of the program. I'll leave the handouts on the table, and again, it includes all of the PowerPoint presentations. Find your way here. This is Jerry Harmio, is the principal of Alamogordo High School. You can see all the different activities that they're hosting for the high school. So again, when we say extracurricular, that isn't class conducted in the school day, so don't confuse it with what they consider as an elective. An elective is something that they have opportunities to take within the school day, within that period of time. Extracurricular is everything outside of those opportunities. Yes?
Maria, would you just, where you just have initials, share what those are, so people know?
The FCA, that's the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The Family and Consumer Sciences is the FCCLA. That's what some of you might know as home ec. The HOSA, that's the Health Occupations, and I'm not sure what the SA stands for. The Junior ROTC, that's the military class that we offer. The MESA is the Math and Engineering Sciences, and SAD is the Students Against Destructive Drivers, or Destructive Decisions, I think is what it's called now. And I think that's it. Some of these, she had said, are extracurricular activities, but we do have like the band, the choir, orchestra. Those are elective classes, but they also participate outside the school day. Are there any questions about the high school?
Skip one, Maria.
Okay, Academy del Sol, they offer tutoring from 3:30 to 6:30, academic probation from 3:30 to 6, where they make up their missed work and complete assignment at night school. Chaparral Middle School, if you're from Chaparral, if you'd like to speak to any of these. Again, FCA is the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I know at our school, the National Junior Honor Society is coming up in the spring here, where the students are selected. Want to speak to any of those? Any questions on any of those? Again, you had a brief overview of Holland Middle School with the power of the other presentation. Throughout, we have our McGee's, which we used to call it Deployed Kids Club, but to make it more middle school friendly, we call it McGee's now, which stands for Military Child Group. They meet every 2 weeks, again for deployed family members, and we support the children through that program. But really, we offer all kids. Hearts is a program that we are partnered with, and again, that's dealing with tobacco prevention. Our Link Tank is a new program that we have this year, and basically it is developing relationships. So it's relationships with student to student, being able to see outside of themselves and how they're kind of expanding their interest into more of a community service concept. Mr. Farley, Mountain View.
Alright, this is Mountain View's extracurricular activities. We do all the major sports. You can see through that. Our summit is our kind of our study hall for enriching and remedial assistance for our students. We do it on before and after schools. We do it Saturday mornings 9 to 12, Wednesday evenings from 3:40 to 7 o'clock. We also have National Junior Honor Society. I don't see it up there, but we do have that as well. We have our History Days, Chess Club, which I'm the defending champion for the last 9 years. Math counts, Mesa, jazz band. We have it all as far as what kids can do. Any questions about extracurricular Mountain View?
Buena Vista. They're offering First in Math. That is a computer program in which students can go on that program, whether it's at school, at home, anytime. And basically, it's kind of self-paced where the child can actually earn points and stickers and things like that. And it actually gets recorded, and they even do a state ranking of students that are #1 in the state, or kind of the ranking. And then they do it by what they call their groups, and also by schools. So again, it's a great program that the students use to enhance their math skills, and that is provided through the schools. So we appreciate that support. Geometry through art, critical thinking skills through chess, poetry, ecology, and health and wellness. Mr. Wheeler, do you want to speak to high rolls?
As I indicate up here, not, because I look at extracurricular activities are all done beyond teaching day and after school. But we have a lot of things, with poetry, we have student council, just things that are in the elementary, but then again, to keep kids after school to do some of these things, and we have transportation issues. Because all kids ride buses and highways.
In Halaman Elementary, we have student council, various grade level interventions, and also the Deployed Kids Club. And Kathy, did you want to say something on that?
As some of you may know, then we up to any particular time at Holloman, we have up to 300 men or women deployed from Holloman. And so this really impacts a large number of students at Holloman Elementary, Holloman Middle School as well. And Tina Fisberg is just doing a phenomenal job with the Deployed Kids Club at Holloman Elementary. And one thing that we've recently started is having one of the MFLEX, or the Military Family Life Consultants, also meeting with the parents, while Tina then meets with the kiddos and do different kinds of projects. So this is just really been a great partnership.
It's a great partnership with the Halaman Air Force Base, and Gigi being part of that as well, and we really appreciate that because, again, there's a lot of support systems that go to the deployed members, but the kids is where our hearts lie because, again, we need to really consider that there's not always a lot of support systems with the children. So we appreciate the things that we are partnering with Halaman Air Force Base to take care of the children.
As types, again, these are all in-school type activities. Our computer lab sessions are first in math to help with those kids that may not have internet access at their home. And the tutoring after school does occur with various teachers and grade levels, usually Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Mr. Gonzalez? Luz Elementary School?
Good evening. It's pretty self-explanatory. The only one I want to mention that we forgot to list was I got Mr. Jazai here, who's one of our ministry alliances. What do we call the product?
It's a mentoring program.
It's a mentoring program for 5th graders. And we have 2 local community members that come and tutor our 5th graders. And Mr. Jazza is seeing currently 4 fifth-grade boys who kind of target them at risk, and Mrs. Beth Lucero works with 4 fifth-grade girls. And again, as Jerry Wheeler said, we do have the math tutoring program. We do our chess club. The majority of these are done during school time, with the exception of the after-school tutoring program. We're very proud of our Loose Idol competition talent show that we hold every year. At the end, we have an end of the year Eagle celebration, mentioned there. This past year we had a fall festival, which is put on. We have a phenomenal parent club representation over at Columbus Elementary, and we're very fortunate to have them. And this year we're continuing with the Health Career Fair Day at our school, which again is doing this week. Any questions, please give us a call or go by.
North Elementary.
We have after-school Lexia, which is computer lab, reading intervention. Oh, we also, I don't know who put this together, it wasn't me. But we have fall fun night, we have bingo for books, we just had that Friday night. We have safety patrol, we have student council, so we do have a few things. I'd like to see more, but participation sometimes is a problem.
Oregon Elementary.
I wish you read it in bigger font. Or I wish I'd worn my glasses, one or the other. I looked at all after-school programs, and I want to reiterate what Maria said about we have to have staff that's willing to do that for free, and it has to be self-initiated by them, because we can't ask them to do after-duty responsibilities. So if you're lucky enough to have staff that's willing to do that at the elementary level, then you can have a lot of extra programs. And over the last 3 years, I've got a pretty good group now that want to do this in their own initiative. So that's really helpful. We just started K1 Read Aloud Club because our kindergarten and first grade teachers thought that the kids needed a lot more exposure to just seeing that reading is fun and just really enjoying books. We also have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we have a reading club where we don't make it funny. I'm kidding, but that is what it kind of sounded like. K1 teachers don't do what we're already doing is fun. The science club, last year we had very limited participation in the science fairs. This year I had a couple of teachers that took the initiative and wanted to do a science club, so we'd have more participation in that. Chess club, I heard Mike Farley brag a little bit, so that gave me an open forum. We were the champions last year, elementary level chess club. First in Math Club, I can't help but say we do it Monday through Friday. We've strived the last, I don't want to say 2 months, and Maria's giving me that look, but we've strived the last couple of months to get ahead of home and middle because we were second in the state, and that about kills me. I know competitive isn't all that it is, but I'm kind of like that. But we are number 1 and have been for a while. So Oregon is number 1 in First in Math Club in the state and in the district. So I'm thrilled about that. I'm sorry, Maria. Puppet Club, we have a retired school teacher that I've told her that is definitely not what I will choose to do for a club when I retire, but we have a retired school teacher that worked at Oregon before that does a puppet club for us, and it's awesome, and she doesn't want to limit the amount of kids that she has, which makes her even more kind of nuts, but regardless, they love it, and they do a lot with that. Parenting classes, I've been lucky to work with Chins, and they were able to get a grant, and so we've been able to supply parenting classes, and we do those for 8 weeks, and then we get a new set of parents for that. And we had a teacher last year. The first year PTA did like babysitting while we did those parent classes, but last year I had a teacher that got excited about it, and she decided that she wanted to do like self-esteem building classes with the kids while we were meeting with the parents. And so this year she picked that up. So each year it gets a little broader depending on who you have on your staff and what their interest area becomes. So anyway, questions?
Sacramento Elementary School.
Hi, Teresa Bloxwell. Yes, we had the after-school program that's on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and new. Again, what Brenda said, it's kind of hard to get teachers working hard all day, and it's on their own to do the extra stuff afterwards. But I do want to say that we do have math night, reading night, Bingos for Book. We'll be having our Cinco de Mayo. We usually have that every year. Also, we're starting K-Kids for the Kiwanis kids. We're trying to build leadership through that. So we have a group of 4th and 5th graders. Kiwanis is trying to instill this leadership skill, and then each year we'll add another grade. And we also do Lexia and first in math and application programs.
Sierra Elementary School?
Yes, we have an after-school computer Lexia club that we have, you are invited to come to that club. Parents, the children that are performing it, have the most need, are the ones that are coming to that after-school club. We're seeing some really great results from that. We also have Coyote Choir that one of our teachers has a talent with her ability to sing and to lead the choir, so she's doing a wonderful job doing some performances for Earth Day. They will be over there. We also have a math and science club. We have a lower grade math and science club. We did also have a 3rd, 4th, 5th science club. As of right now, Ms. Chapman stopped that due to it was more geared towards growth science fair, get the kids excited about science fair. So that right now has ceased. Also, we did have a Spanish club as well that is no longer due to the fact that the teacher that was running that ended up moving to El Paso. She had resigned that post. So we also have a safety patrol that is very active and works, is a big part of our celebrations and any kind of school functions that we have. They play a big part of that.
Yucca Elementary School.
Yucca Elementary School has the First in Math Club. It's again for those students that require or want to work on their math skills. And we have a chess club that takes place once a week, I believe on Thursdays. Our First in Math Club takes place Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before and after school. We also have a student council in place, but they take care of their business during the daytime. So those are the things that come to my mind right off the top of my head.
That ends the slideshow. Again, knowing the criteria that we asked for the principals to submit, we said extracurricular, meaning out of the school day. But if you notice, as everyone started speaking, there's a lot of things that happen during the school day that extends itself out of the school day, such as the science fair and the health fair that is going on, Earth Day that's going on. So even though a lot of that is being supported within the school day, it also gets extended, again, on weekends after school and things like that. As well in the secondary, again with the competitions, they may be working with some of these things after school, but then they move on to regional competition, state competition, and eventually national. So this is just, again, kind of if you're looking at it, it's sort of like the whipped cream on top of all of this, because if you dig deeper, you'll find that all the schools provide a very rich program that offers a lot of opportunities for children throughout the day. But this is why it's called extra even, because I know that all the schools go above and beyond to try and provide extra assistance, whether it's through tutoring, extra programs to help assist with the extension of learning, and also fun. So again, we appreciate you being here this evening. Does anyone have any other questions? Dr. Stefas?
No, I just think we really would like to have comments from Lawrence about athletics. We can have that.
Okay, thank you. I thought I'd start with just a couple of things that might be a little bit new for us. And number one, with the gender equity piece that we have put in place in the last year, I think that that's important for us to know, and that gender equity is to make sure that we are offering the same programs for male and female athletes, and that they're having the same kind of opportunities. So we've been involved in that this year. We're making sure that our numbers are matching up. So last year was our first year in doing that, and they gave us a percentage of 3 to 5% variance for those, and we were able to meet those. And then this year, it's gotten even better. Our numbers are good with the young people that are participating. We probably have over 1,400 young people that are participating, grades 7 through 12, and so our numbers are good. We've also instituted a couple of things, the no cut that's made it pretty good for the numbers and everything, and so it's been pretty good. Mrs. Showalter out at Holloman instituted a no cut program, and they got numbers and numbers and numbers. We don't know how I'm going to play all of them, but they got them on the team, and that's good. And so the kids are participating, and that's the main thing. They get a chance to come, and we put in some play days, some round robin things for the kids in the middle school for volleyball and things to keep kids in school. So we've done some things like that to make it a little bit better. So we did that. Also, cheerleading was added as a sport. We have had cheerleading as a sport for the last 17, 18 years. So we're probably the only school district in the state that has put cheerleading in as a sport. So now we have the requirement that our cheerleaders have to attend so many competitions during the year. And so they just finished the competition on Saturday where they finished second. But that's another thing that we've had. We've had it for years. They've been involved in our program. We apply the same things to them as we do to any other sport, and that is with equipment, practice times, meals, all the things that we put in for everybody else. We have for them also. One that also is there is alignment classification. I know a lot of people have been very interested in the alignment classification piece, and why is it, and I get the question a lot of times, why is it that Alamogordo is still a 5A school when our enrollment has gone down, down, down? And the reason being, it's numbers. It's a numbers game. And so it ends up being that 1651 is the cutoff number. So we fall in that category. The reason we do, and Ms. Jaramillo had asked me that question several times. She sent me a number that said we had 1532, looks like this. And so, well, it doesn't count Academy del Sol. We have Academy del Sol, counts in our enrollment, and until something like that changes, then we still stay 5A because they have another 150 students there. So that puts us above that 1651 again. We're getting ready to go into another alignment classification piece in the next year or so, but Alamogordo is not eligible to do anything until after that time. So as soon as we find those numbers, as soon as possibly, and I have been pursuing the idea of taking the alternative school kids out of the count so that we would be looking at the number of students at the high school only, and if the students at Academy del Sol want to play, then it's no problem for them to come to high school. They can come to high school, they can play. It's not a problem. But it's one way of looking at it, but as long as those numbers remain on the rolls, nothing changes. So that's one of the things we have. And I know I've been asked that question a lot of times, but it's numbers. Okay? Any questions that I can answer for you in those things that we just talked about in regards to sports or anything else? Yes, sir.
Has Alamogordo ever contemplated having a wrestling program for high school down this way? I come from a big wrestling school.
You are sitting too close to Farley right now. Okay. We've had that conversation. Wrestling program was taken out a number of years ago. It's a financial thing, but it's something that I've been asked about. It's something that's going to have to go in front of the board for them to contemplate the idea of having it. We also have to consider, do we have enough people, I should say enough facilities to support wrestling, because that's a large mat. That mat costs anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000. We have to have a place to store it. We can't just let it be any place. So that, we've thought about it, we've been asked about it, but my comment has been until we get some more money put into that, we can't contemplate doing that right now. Mr. Farley?
I did not say a word to him.
Yeah, yes, sir.
It's a comment more than a question. One of the things that was not mentioned in high school is ACT, SAT, which students are expected to do, some students are expected to do, and they're outside of school. And now we have conflicts between swimming and ACTs, we have track and ACTs, track and skiing, and I guess the point I'm getting at is there's a lot of conflict between the extracurricular activities and sports, and my to work with the band teacher so that students aren't in the middle of this poll and they're having to make choices and threaten to be kicked off teams whenever they don't have control over the schedule. They just want to be a member of the band who's going to compete like last weekend and have a track meet the same day. And now the coaches and teachers are putting kids in the middle of this fight.
Thank you for the question. It has been asked before. Number one, we have tried to schedule around the ACT and SAT as much as possible in scheduling games. So sometimes you will see on the schedule that it says there's a game on Friday night in the springtime. If you look, ACT or SAT is on that Saturday. So sport-wise, we have tried to do that. We've also encouraged the students that there are a lot of tests that are given throughout the year and that they can take them at those times. We put that schedule out, and the schedule is probably a year ahead. So there's an opportunity to take that exam and be able to coordinate it with the things that they would like to do. So we try to do that as much as possible. Now, the other piece, conflicts with band, with other events and things like that, I agree with you. Students should never be in the middle of a conflict in regards to those sort of things between coaches, band directors, choir, and things like that. We had some people that believed they had an issue. We were able to settle that by having some conversations with the coaches, with the band people and everything, and I think we worked those things out. Because the rule states that we have is that if you have a competition and there is a conflict, that the student can make a choice as to what they do without any penalties. Now, in athletics, we try to make sure those things happen. I think that I've heard some things in different places where somebody says, well, it's going to cost you a grade, it's going to cost you this, it's going to... Well, we don't do that. And we try to work through those things because we think it's important for kids to be able to do several things, not just one, to be able to do several things. So we work around these as much as possible. Anytime there's a conflict, and I hear there's a conflict, then we take care of it. But thank you.
Just as a side note, Coach Chapman and Ms. Jones did a great job coordinating this last weekend together. So we'll lift kudos where it happens.
Thank you very much. I'll let them know. Yes, sir.
It's my understanding that to be in any of the organized sports, one of the electives for the student needs to be the conditioning elective. And I guess being on school, that can you maybe give me some information?
What happens is that we offer a strength and conditioning course during the school day that we allow the students to take. Any student in the school system can take that class. We encourage the athletes to be involved in that class if all possible. A lot of times, some students may feel if they're not in that class, then maybe they are not going to be on the team, but that's not true either. But we do encourage them to do it because physical conditioning is important. It allows them to get an opportunity to stretch, to gain strength, and those things are very, very good. It builds camaraderie with their teammates at times, but they're not all athletes in that class. But we do encourage them to go into that class, but they don't have to be there. Thank you.
Okay, as you all have heard, this has been an overview of what we have out there. And we'd really like to hear from some of you all as to seeing what has been presented to you tonight. What kinds of activities would you possibly think that Alamogordo Public Schools would be likely to have? Anything out there that, yes ma'am?
Well, my son, he wants to participate in something, but he's not like the athletic type like basketball and football. And I was thinking that a golf thing would be really great because there's several golf courses in Lincoln and Arturo County areas. So there could be something like that.
Would that be like middle school, elementary?
Maybe 6th and up.
So
if they could, I don't know if they could do 6, but yeah.
So golf extracurricular?
There's a golf team, and they can, it's 7th grade.
7th grade and up? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not real familiar with this district, so I just,
Okay, yeah, we do have a golf program, and we take it, well, 7th graders are not eligible for varsity or high school competition, but we do have a program, and the program goes, the program is 8th grade through 12th grade are eligible for participation in the high school program, but in the summertime, and I may be wrong, but I think I'm right, with the Sun Country Golf Program, they go out to the golf course and they have a program for those kids in the summertime to play and to teach them how to play, to teach them how to hit the ball and things like that. It's an excellent program. We have an excellent program in Alamogordo.
But is it set up like extracurricular type activity, or is it part of like the athletics? Like how does that work?
It is a summer program that they have in the city of Alamogordo at the golf course that the kids are allowed to play in, and for a small fee that they go out and play. And it's a really outstanding program. A lot of the kids in our programs, they play in the summertime, play a lot in the summertime out there, and that's where they go and they gain that extra skill and everything. And we have an agreement, so when your son or daughter becomes an 8th grader, then they can play on the high school golf team at that time. We have a varsity team and a JV team.
How's that set up for costs? Like what, does the school pay for a lot of that activity, or do the parents, like how does that work as far as like what we have to do?
In the summertime, the Sun Country, I don't know what the cost is, but it's not a big cost. But during the school year, there is no cost to our athletes. We have what's called a joint powers agreement with the city of Alamogordo. They allow our athletes to use the golf course for no cost at that point in time. And so it's a great opportunity. And if your son or daughter is interested in it, if you'll give me a name later on, then I would be more than happy to pass that on to the head coach and those people and see what we do. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I was wondering about a Lego club for some of the other schools. I know one school here in Alamogordo has a Lego club.
I can actually address that. Yeah, we do as well.
There's at least 3 now.
With the Lego club, that was, I know that our school, and Victor, if you want to speak to this as well, is that that is, again, a volunteer that works with our students, and they actually did some fundraising. It initially cost $800, and they did outside fundraising, this volunteer did, to help support the team and all of the equipment that they needed, and so that's being done as outside of the school day as extracurricular, but basically the students were required to, and the parents were required to put in some money, so there was a commitment since there was so much money that needed to be brought in from the volunteers.
But,
do you want to speak to that a little bit?
But is it possible to get that in some of the other schools?
Well, again, I think, I can't speak for the other schools. I just know that, there are a lot of different opportunities. We always need parents, though, to help with those initiatives, especially if they're outside the school day. So, if you know a particular school and you want to start that program, I encourage you to talk to that principal. And I'm sure their first question would be, who's interested in helping us with that program? So, yes.
I coach a Lego club. Originally, I was trying to set it up at Sierra. My main issue was basically trying to find a space to do it because I could not do it on the school property after hours. That's one of the issues that we can end up doing in my house. But the issue is trying to find space. And that's one of the issues that I really don't have to address that. How can we
find a place
and do it? All the issues that involve with that stuff. Coaches try to go to the class
after hours, correct.
I think originally it started in La Luz, and one person brought it to New Mexico, and some people from the community just look interested and created their own clubs and their own groups, and ended up having five groups run around here, Parliament and La Luz and other middle school. And basically, if anybody's interested in hosting or coaching a group, you can contact this person in La Luz, and you can get fundraising. So we have a lot of people that help financially. So the Sierra Club or the Iceland Club, really they do not have to much a lot of money. I think it's like $30 for a 6 months program. Because it was all like support, financial support from the community. It was all based on volunteer work. And like I said, many of them just met in the garage and things like that. So if the school district can come out with a place to our school meet, that was our biggest problem, was having the kids come to our garage and talk to the kids.
Before you guys leave, could you get your name? You're part of the, you're going. Could you get your name and telephone number? We can get in contact with you. Mr. Weaver,
I would just ask you, I'm the oldest guy on the board, and I'm hard of hearing, so please use the mic so I can hear what you're saying. I appreciate it.
My name's Dave Lozano, I'm the head baseball coach. This is just a comment from high school. Right now we're having the New Mexico Standard Based Assessment Blitz. I appreciate Ms. Jaramillo. They've been doing it for the last 2 years now, last 3 years. But it's been real successful on our athletes. And I'm just letting you know that we're here. She's been here for the athletes, and we're here for the athletes. So, we're allowing those athletes to come out there. Those are the ones that have been identified at a lower 25%. So we're working with them. They're staying after for about another hour and a half. So, we're allowing our athletes out there. But like I said, they are getting support from the coaches. I know I support her 100%. And it's also carried on to the middle school. We're doing the blitz down in Mountain View. I know we're doing it now. But like I said, it's been a big dividends. I just wanted to make a comment about we thank you for that, Ms. Jaramillo, and you got our support. You got my support. Thank you.
I'd like to throw in a plug also for our Start with the Arts tag, and you have that honor because we're really very big on the whole child and extracurricular activities. I mentioned earlier the recital, music, drama, art, incorporate physical activities, and Start with the Arts is a culmination activity we'll have in May. That's an ongoing art program through which we've been very fortunate in the elementaries to have teachers certified or taught with the Arts Attack program, which I went through. It's a fabulous program to incorporate art, and it's done every year, K through 5. So Start with Arts is another great example. And by the way, that Luz Vego, Dr. Miller, if you don't mind, David Dunn, who is in military, gentlemen, is the one who started that, and he's getting ready to be deployed. He's leaving, and he provided the very first kit because he brought it over to us from Virginia. So it didn't cost us anything, but to purchase more kits is where it was. And him leaving, I'm very hope we can continue it. And again, he's given us the start on it, and we want to continue going for other schools. Regularly.
And as you guys are all hearing, one of the big things is that we really need to have volunteers. So if you know of any parents out there or any community member that has something that they would like to offer to the school system, or going into the classrooms or the buildings to help out with an after-school activity, let us know. Because we really would like to have everybody come out and help us in some of these projects and activities that we have going on.
Thank you for mentioning Start with the Arts, but because the middle schools and high schools have asked to be involved this year too, and it's going to be at Alamogordo High School. It's the first weekend of May. May 5th. So we're going to have a big art celebration there. Thank you.
So any other activities or anything else that you would like to see in the schools that could help our students out? Any concerns with what we have presently? Again, if you have any questions, concerns, or if you saw something up here that you might like to see in your building, in your child's building, talk to your principals. That's the first place to start. And they'll probably put you to volunteer, but it's well worth it. Anything else? As you all have heard what we have here tonight, and you go home and all of a sudden think of something else that you'd like to talk or discuss about, please make sure that you get a hold of one, whether it be the principals or if you call central office administration, We're always welcome, we'd like to hear the comments that are coming and the suggestions. Dr. Strafas, I forgot and I apologize. I did not mention you this earlier as I mentioned the school board. Our superintendent, Dr. Strafas, is here. He's also very interested to hear what our community families, parents have to say and their concerns or suggestions. So we really appreciate you having this opportunity, and we appreciate all of you that have come out, care about what's going on in the system. So keep coming, talk to your friends, talk to others about what we're doing here so that we really can work on some issues or concerns or just to make ourselves better. So again, thank you all for coming. Board, thank you. Ms. Showalter, thank you for having all of this present. She does have some copies of the PowerPoint if you'd like to pick one of those up as you walk out. Thank you again.